Welcome to Top Shift 141. This will be part 2 of the review of the Thargoid War in 2023. It will cover updates 16 and 17 released in the latter half of last year. As a side note, before I begin, throughout this review I frequently refer to player numbers. These were taken exclusively from the Steam charts, as Frontier doesn't reveal the player population. It must be noted that Steam charts are not a true reflection of the game's population, because players who use the Epic Store or FDev's standalone launcher aren't reflected in those figures. On the other hand, Steam charts give a good indication of player trends. And as usual, please like and subscribe for more Top Shift content. Update 16. We only had to wait until August for Update 16, however it was soon apparent that this update wasn't as big as the others. It did introduce another Odyssey mission, which you can reactivate sites in recurring systems. However, there was an annoying bug where you would accept one of these missions only to find the settlement already up and running. Thankfully this issue has been fixed, but it does still occasionally happen. Also introduced were the Barnacle Matrix sites. Not much was known about these sites. We did know the Revenants defended them, and on the ground, and scouts in the air, but there didn't appear to be a reason to visit them apart from curiosity. As times passed, thanks to CGs, we discovered that human captives were being held aboard the Titans, and Aegis, the in-game agency tasked with dealing with Thargoids, worked out a way to rescue them. This involved using modified extraction missiles. The objective was to fly into the Maelstrom, infiltrate the cloud to get to the Titan, detect where the human pods were, and use the extraction missile to blow the human pods out of the Thargoid vessel. Health and safety nightmare if you ask me. However, things were more complicated even further with the introduction of the Scythe, another Thargoid Hunter class vessel. If you were within a jump, i.e. anything up to 15 light years from a system in alert, invasion or occupied state, these ships would interdict you and attempt to steal any humans in your ship, using new Thargoid limpets. They did not discriminate between passengers, slaves, scooped escape pods or rescued humans from the Titans, and they are very efficient at what they do. Thankfully they're easier to fight than the Glaives, which is an excellent job because the only way to retrieve any humans they've stolen is to destroy the alien vessel and then scoop back those unfortunates. It did add an extra level of challenge, especially when you were rescuing people from either a station under attack or from a Titan. It was later revealed that people rescued from the Thargoids were put into secure holding facilities, effectively prison camps, as there is a suspicion that they may have been modified for some form of fifth column operation, or even as disease carriers. However, from a gameplay perspective, combining the Glaive and the approach to the Titan was a lot more difficult than the previous update, and many players felt that running rescue missions wasn't worth the effort, as it could be a time-wasting and frustrating experience. Random factors could allow a clear run one time, and next you couldn't get close to the Maelstrom cloud due to the Glaive or Hyper or interdicting you. Another factor were players were getting too good at halting alert states. Although good for the war effort, it meant that a lot more of the fun content based around the invasion state was no longer available. And combined with the previous mentioned frustration with the Glaive, the number of players appeared to drop. Now, I've rated this content as a 6 out of 10. The rescue mission was good in concept, and I do enjoy tangling with the Scythe. However, I gave up on the Titan rescue missions as they seemed to be at the mercy of too much RNGs, and I returned to running standard Odyssey missions instead, as other Thargoid content had appeared to have dried up. Update 17 arrived halfway through October, and it was a big one. The Barnacle Matrix sites from Update 16 had evolved overnight into these massive tower-like structures. Some of these spires were over 6 kilometers tall. They were defended by Revenants, Scouts, the occasional Thargoid Interceptor, and the new Banshee. This new Thargoid weapon is a massive hovering alien tank that feels like the Thargoid equivalent to a Goliath skimmer. It was later discovered that these spire sites were Thargoid refineries that supplied the Titans. Orthrus Thargoids could be seen carrying materials from these sites to the Titans. In combination with this, 2 new mission types appeared with the rescue ships. The first is to extract materials from these sites. This is done in various ways, but using a combination of on-foot, in-vehicle and in-ship mechanics. The long-promised full circle of combat was realised. The second mission used those components which were gathered from the previous mission. The rescue ship would use them to create a poison material which could be delivered to the spires. This material had to be inserted into the spire on foot, and if successful would elicit a massive Thargoid response, which the player had to escape from. Overall, Update 17 has been very well received by the community and did spike a renewed interest in the game, but as these spire sites had been knocked out, player numbers have fallen again. The content with these spires have been the highlight of the war so far. Even though the Titans were impressive, this is the first content that's Odyssey exclusive, and it's taken advantage of all the possibilities of on-ground content. Everything from the scale, the graphics, the sound, which is outstanding as usual, and the gameplay has led to some of the most impressive moments I've had in Elite for ages. Some examples are as an extension fall in an SRV from 6 kilometers up while being in VR, a severe case of brown flight suit time, or sneaking into some of the structures hoping that the Revenants and Banshees don't spot me, and then being genuinely terrified when one did. Because of gameplay experiences like this, I'd give Update 17 a 9, almost 10 out of 10 in some places. The present state of the war. At the start of 2024, which is 3310 in Elite years, the state of a war appears to have humanity winning. The Thargoids are now down to approximately 325 systems. Almost 50% of the spire sites have been disabled, and there's even one Titan, Tenaris, which has no occupied systems available to support it. However, there is a feeling that the Thargoids have an extra card up their sleeve, or mandible, with the disquiet about the free humans from the Titans and rumours that the person that started the whole war, codenamed Salvation, may still be alive in some form and could reappear to cause more havoc. So in conclusion, ironically it's been brought to my attention that because of the patch notes, where the principal content release has not been announced due to narrative reasons, that some ex-players have just looked over these notes and interpreted these releases as nothing more than bug fixes. I do hope this has been a pleasant surprise. However, if you couldn't or didn't want to engage with the Thargoid War, Elite is in the same state, although performing much better than before than it was almost 2 years ago. So if none of the Thargoid content or performance fixes interests, there's nothing new to entice you back. Although it must be said that now that the Odyssey content performs well, it's pretty enjoyable, but it gets incredibly grindy when you get to the higher engineers. Having been involved in the Thargoid War, I found a lot that appealed to me. I would rate the content as 8 out of 10. It would have scored higher. There are some frustrations with the signposting of the new content and anything to do with the glaive. Yep, that again. Although not through official channels, an Update 18 has been confirmed after trusted content creators reached out to Frontier, so we know that more Thargoid War content is coming. However, it must be pointed out that many players and ex-players were hoping for news about this feature rewrite because they wanted an alternative to the Thargoid War. Personally, I can only hope that Frontier Developments manages to weather this current storm, and my sympathies do go out to any of the staff who have been let go because of it. FDev have said they aim to get back to the kind of games that made their reputation, and Elite is one of those games. There is still demand for more Elite content. Ex-players are always telling me they'll come back and pay for something new as long as it appeals for them. The problem is they all seem to want different things, i.e. new ships, or ship interiors, or full on-foot VR, etc. I do hope that FDev will be in a position to deliver it.